Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we are going to tend for my super tall Cattleya type. This is Laelia Latona, currently reclassified as Cattleya, but you know, here on my channel we do maintain older names. And if you missed our previous video, well, this orchid is 63 centimeters tall, about 25 inches. That's the tallest Cattleya I have ever seen. Now, the problem with this orchid is that it doesn't really have much roots. When it was sent to me, my friend told me it has absolutely no good roots, but on the way here, it started to grow roots, which is great for the purpose of rejuvenation, and I will explain why throughout this video. So today I decided to take you along, show you how I will go about it, how I like to address stressed, sick orchids, because indeed I do believe we have no viable root here in the pot, as well as to show you how I will go about stabilizing this orchid, because that will be the main issue. Alrighty, so with that said, let's just start with the root production situation. Cattleyas are a very diverse group of orchids, and if you consider that we also have intergeneric hybrids, not just same genus hybrids, well, things can get very complicated when it comes to pattern of growth. When it comes to root production, we have Cattleya orchids which start to produce new roots as the new growth matures, way before it completely matures or even blooms. This is pretty much the best case scenario when you receive a very stressed rootless orchid, because when the new growth starts, new roots will soon follow. So the period in which the orchid will be without roots and dehydrated will be quite minimal, because the new roots are already on their way, so soon enough they will start to absorb water. However, not all Cattleyas will grow roots at this time in their growth stage. Some Cattleyas will put out new roots way after the new growth completely matures and even blooms. This is the case with the Cattleya mosiae. Last year she fell, she kind of almost lost a pseudobulb, she lost a lot of roots in the process, and ever since then she's been kind of struggling. Although she bloomed this year, the bloom didn't really last all that long, and as you can see, she is not looking great, but we do have a new growth on the way. With this particular orchid, I have absolutely no hope that it will get through the setback anytime soon, because she's currently rootless, and I know that new roots will only start to appear after this new growth completely matures. I don't believe it will bloom, thankfully. If she would decide to put out a bloom, I would definitely cut it, because it would drain energy and the roots will be stalled. So with these types of Cattleyas, recoup is actually much slower and slightly problematic, because sometimes the orchid will just run out of energy before she puts out, or actually matures, the pseudobulb enough to put out some roots. And in this case, there's really nothing you can do, because it's about genetic coding. It's not about what you can do to promote roots. If the orchid simply does not have the structure ready to create roots, it will just not create roots. And as you might know, many Cattleyas are not super willing to grow new roots from older growths. Most roots come from the new growths. Some hybrids will grow roots all over the place, but with some species it's just not the case, and the mosiae is one of those. And sadly, I can expect a lot of setback here. So how does this information help us? Well, first of all, we need to know what to expect. We cannot expect all Cattleyas to start to put out new roots at this stage when the new growth is really fresh. Some of them will just grow roots after the pseudobulb matures. And second, in case we want to repot such an orchid and we are dealing with chunky medium, or a medium which we know will damage the root system when we remove it, then we might want to put off repotting to autumn or even winter, when theoretically you shouldn't repot orchids, but with some Cattleyas you should, because that's when new root production starts. In the case of this orchid, pretty much in the middle of winter is when I personally get new roots on this orchid, so that's when I should repot it. Again, we're trying to minimize the period of time in which the orchid stays without roots, so choosing a good time to repot will actually help this type of orchid. With hybrids, and especially intergeneric hybrids, there is no way to tell when they will put out roots unless you have experience with that hybrid or you have experience with its parents. Now, my Laelia Latona is a hybrid between the Laelia purpurata, which I do own, and the Laelia cinnabarina, I think it is, which I don't. So I know already that the purpurata puts out roots after the pseudobulb matures, sometimes even after it blooms. And in the summertime and autumn, it completely matures a new growth. I don't know about the other parent though. So this particular hybrid can actually follow the purpurata or the other parent, or maybe make a mixture between the two. I'm not entirely sure, but considering that this orchid actually lost its flower spike, which I showed you last time, it had a sheath here and the flower spike dried, I'm thinking it does follow the purpurata schedule, and I'm a little lucky that the flower spike died because this initiated new root production. And at this point in time, this is what we want. So again, with the Cattleyas, I do maintain my opinion that if your Cattleya is rootless or super stressed root-wise, it's a great idea to cut flower spikes, because not only do you cut the energy drainage, but also you might actually prompt faster root production. And it's not about magical potions here, it's about genetics and about the hormonal balance in the orchid. So I'm not entirely sure if the drying of the flower spike prompted new roots, but when this orchid was shipped to me, it had 0 roots. But yeah, at this point, I much rather have roots than flower spikes. Alrighty, so with the theory out of the way, let's get to the practice, because we need to repot it and we need to stabilize it. And I'm not sure how to do that just yet, but we'll wing it. Alright, so my friend actually provided a pot and fresh medium for this orchid, and this is a Repot Me slotted pot. It's the 5-inch or 13-centimeter pot, which, considering the size of the orchid, seems to be appropriate. However, I will not use this pot. I will go one size bigger. This is the very same type of pot. It's the 6-inch or 15-centimeter pot. Now, normally, if I knew nothing about this orchid, I would maintain the pot, because at this stage, it is suitable for the orchid. However, as I was saying, I have the purpurata, I know it, I know how fast it spreads and how many roots it produces. It's a big root producer. The rhizome tends to spread pretty much, and already with this one, can we see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pseudobulbs, and already I'm over the half of the pot. So if I leave this orchid be, next year I would have to repot it again, and I don't want to. I want to leave it here at least 2 years. Also, I live in a very warm climate. I know how to work with my climate. I know what type of mix to put in here so that the size is not too much and will not keep things way too wet. And having this experience with my environment and with mixing my medium, I am very confident in the size of the pot. Again, if I would be at the beginning, if I wouldn't know exactly what type of medium to choose, I would probably go for the smaller pot. But taking all of the things that I said into consideration, I will switch to a larger pot. I think I will reuse this medium because it's perfectly new. I think this is Orchiata, this is fresh sphagnum moss, and a few Ceramis pieces, which are absolutely okay with me since they're not the sole medium, and I will add more sphagnum moss and bark chips. Medium or small sized bark chips. I don't like to work with big chunky bark chips. 1, too big air pockets for my environment. 2, a lot of root damage when I repot orchids. The smaller the bark is, the better it is for the roots when you repot. So let's see exactly what we have in the pot. Now, even if this orchid is wobbly, I do see that there are some things inside the pot. Okay, so we do have some roots, but they're absolutely not alive. All of them are very papery, very mushy. And if I were to pull on one of them, a string will be left behind. So this is a perfectly safe root to cut because it's not alive anymore. So that is the next thing that I will do. I sterilize my pair of fiskars with alcohol and a flame. Alcohol is just fine. It will do the job. So now I will cut away all of these roots. And this is what we are left with, not a whole lot, but we can see two lovely root tips here, and there's another one poking here. There's also a dormant eye here swelling, so maybe I will have another growth here. If not, definitely here. Not entirely sure when this will happen because this is the new growth, this cane. And before anything, the cane needs to put out roots. This cane did not grow any roots up until now. Okay, so cleanup was pretty fast. I will not remove any of the canes. They're in perfect shape. Let's go ahead and arrange the pot and the medium. All right, so I know I said that I will reuse the medium, but it has a weird smell. Maybe on transport, something happened. Maybe the sphagnum moss is already starting to decompose. I'm not entirely sure, but because of the smell, I will actually use brand new medium. Alright, so I will add medium to my pot. You guys might already know how I do things. I am mixing it as I go. I start off with a sphagnum moss layer to absorb whatever I have left in the tray. And as I was saying, medium to kind of small sized bark chips, which works great in my environment. In some environments it might be too fine. I am a-okay with it though. Alright, so I am on the second to last layer. The last layer is always bark, but right under bark I prefer to have quite the bed of sphagnum moss because this is what will help the roots grow. Also, when I will sit the orchid on this layer, the root tips will not be damaged because moss is very fluffy, just like a little blanket, so the roots will be protected. Alrighty, so now comes the difficult part. How do we stabilize the orchid? It's super tall and has no roots. My preferred way is to tie the orchid to stakes, whether there are bamboo or the typical Phalaenopsis stakes. They are my first line of stabilization. With this orchid, I'm sure it's not going to be enough, but it's a start. So the stakes that I will be using are these repot me stakes, which have a hook on one end and a rubber stopper on the other one. So if theoretically I would have roots inside the pot, this will make sure that I don't scratch them or damage them. I discovered that these are super useful for dendrobiums and other tall caned orchids. So this is the small size actually. For my dendrobiums, I used the taller stake, but this one will do for this Cattleya. And what I like about these stakes that I don't actually need to tie the orchid to the stake. So I think I will place two hooks inside the pot. There we go. So you can see that the hooks are actually holding the pseudobulbs without me having to tie them, without having to pinch the pseudobulbs. But as I was saying, this is not enough. The orchid is still super wobbly. Not even a ring support will do the job at this point because the pot is simply not tall enough. So we don't have enough leverage, no matter the stake that I would put. So what I will do is finish up the potting. I will put the bark top layer. Now the top layer of bark makes sure that I will not have excessive algae at the top of my pot, which in this environment can happen, and if it gets out of hand it can actually damage roots. Alright, so the potting is complete, the top layer is in place. Time to put in the final stake, but this one will not be vertical, it will actually be horizontal. I'm gonna use a bamboo skewer, and what I will try to do is a sort of rhizome clip, but a DIY one. So what I will do is insert this bamboo skewer very close to the rhizome and keep the orchid firmly in place. To do so though, I need to cut my bamboo skewer so that we can create tension with the pot. And let's see if this is enough. Oh yeah. So the bamboo skewer is very secure here in the pot because it sits in tension with the pot. It is actually not pressing down way too much on the rhizome, not enough to damage it, but enough to maintain this orchid much more stable. And still, with all of these, you can see this orchid is still just slightly wobbly. This will not be enough to damage the roots, but in case the wind blows or we simply bump a little bit on the orchid, it will completely fall on the ground and pretty much ruin all the work we did because it's impossible to create leverage with a simple plastic pot and very light medium. Therefore, we need even more stabilization. So we will insert the plastic pot into a super heavy decorative ceramic pot, which fits these pots super well And there we go, the orchid is finally stable. It still moves slightly on top, but it's okay. It doesn't wobble way too much, but the bottom is secured. I would still not place this orchid outside just yet. If you know you're gonna have wind, I would still try to put it on a higher shelf maybe, where pets or children cannot reach it. It's a very heavy orchid overall right now with the decorative pot, and it needs a little babying until new roots are settled in. So what I will do is go water it very well, put it in this pot, and I'm going to sit it next to my purpurata, which is one of its parents, just so you see the size difference, because it's wild. And here they are. That's the purpurata. This is the Latona. The pot of the Latona is lower than the purpurata, and still the orchid is much taller. My purpurata is quite mature, fairly young, but quite mature. I don't think it's gonna be taller than that, so you can see the difference. I am super curious about when it's going to bloom, but yeah, there we have it. I think she will do just fine from now on. So being that I don't water at the sink, I don't need to move my orchids way too often, this orchid will not be disturbed. It will not sit here because it's very close to the window, and at night I do open the windows. I'll put it further away from the window just to protect it in case of wind. That's just until the new roots grab a hold of the medium, so the root tips should not have any issues growing, nothing to disturb them, and voila, the tallest Cattleya ever is repotted. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you got some tips and tricks. And you know the drill. Like or dislike this video below. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchid videos, tutorials, Q&As, and other fun orchid subjects. And if you wish to support the channel, do consider visiting the merch store down below. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!